And with a push of the button, that demonstrates that once again, as seems to happen almost every week, it's Friday again. Huzzah! Almost my favorite day of the week. Yeah, I like weekends, but man, I love Fridays. I love Pi Day Friday. I love drama, especially for the I'm watching live. There was 4 concurrent viewers, and then I logged in, and there was 3, and then it went down to 2. It's just me and you. Whoever's there. Hey, well, it is Friday. It's Pi Day Friday. It's drama. Dave Rush, Ask Me Anything, and I am the aforementioned Dave Rush, and there will be more people. Look, the numbers are climbing right back up again, as they should at this time of day on Friday. I inhaled a tiny little fragment of a hazelnut a couple hours ago. And I'm so happy today. I got up this morning and I breathed and inhaled and exhaled and was like, wow, I sound great. I sound like my normal self again. And then I did that to myself, and it'll be done in a couple hours, but yump and yiminy. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to hack my way through one more episode. Goodness my gracious. Okay, so we got a handful of folks here. The usual start out crowd. Hey, it's a 2-hour show. It takes a little while for everybody to get here, and so we will. I assume that since you heard those words and said, I'm here, so is Tully, that I must be audible today, which is a good sign. And someone, I hit the go button a little while ago, and nothing happened. I had the same kind of problem Mike did. It took 15-20 seconds before anything appeared, and it's kind of heart aflutter trying to figure out, am I going to be 15-second delayed? Is there a problem? And then I figured out what happened and why, and wasn't the fault. Dollars Adams, hi David, just found you today. Well, I'm so glad you found me. I was lost, but I'm glad to have you aboard here. Good. New voices, new names, new faces. It's always good. We've got a contest today. New faces always have better odds of winning contests than people that have been here forever. And Andre, that the contest you won the other day, but you actually came in second place. The other guy who won, Don Odinga, had bailed out before the discussion and decision to make him a co-winner. So I watched for him diligently on Mike's show on Monday. He's never won before. At least he's not in my records of winning, so I couldn't find him to send him an email. I tried to look him up online, and there's more than one Don Odinga out there. But I was thrilled to see him check in on Mike's show, hiccups, 2 days ago, and was able to send him a message, and he got me his contact info. So anybody who's won anything this week, I will be submitting all of your entries tonight, and somebody will win today. That'll be included. So if you win today, make sure you send me stuff before end of day today, and that will get to the appropriate people on the weekend, and they will be sending stuff out excuse me, first thing Monday morning or so. I don't want to do any news with just 6 people, and we do have a little more than that as our regular. So let's just see who's here and see what's going on. No, it doesn't say trash metal. It says thrash metal. Not my normal bent, though I have been known to not flip away from a song that started once. Sometimes you got to hear something that's a little different, right? And I have done that this year. I don't typically DJ events. I provide DJ equipment to people who want to DJ. Sometimes that's actual DJs who need more, bigger, louder, whatever equipment. And sometimes it's my brother-in-law is going to DJ the wedding. Okay, I'll get you some equipment. I'll show you a little bit of training on it, and we'll go from that. But I don't DJ myself, at least very seldom. But I did get a request from a close friend to DJ theirs. Okay, been a while since I've worked on my DJ library. So every couple of days, every now and again, I'll go start researching what the current popular stuff is being played at wedding receptions and things like that, and building up a library. I'm finally there. I've got a good library. I'm going to be able to get through this event and be current. And then it dawned on me, I forgot something that I haven't done in a while. You know, you generally set your music to be very current up to the point that the bride and groom were in their early teens. That's when you kind of really fasten on to your musical taste. So I got all that done. But then you also have to say, oh, wait a minute, the moms and the dads and the grandmas and the grandpas are going to be there and they want to dance too sometimes. So fortunately, I am the age of all those grandmas and grandpas and sometimes mom and dads. So I'll spend a little bit of this weekend and some of next week basically pulling stuff out of my existing library and setting it up in the deck. Going to be fun. I haven't DJ'd in a long time. And that, by the way, is where the bow tie is coming in. I beg your pardon. So sorry. All right. So what are we doing here? We see who's here. Tellawit in as always at his usual time, about a half an hour before showtime. Patricia Grace, number 2, followed by Andre de Goyer. It's Tellawit on the pole, and Patricia Breaks coming around second, and following Andre de Goyer coming up through the bunch. TD Washington is here. Good afternoon. And some others. Yeah, a few. Dollars Adams. Dollars Adams. Make sure I'll be posting the link to the Discord server in a little while, sometime in the next 20-30 minutes. Join us over there, and anybody else here who's watching and hasn't checked in yet and isn't a member of the Discord channel, come on over and join us. But I love interesting names. Dollars Adams. I've got like 18 ideas on where that came from. One of them is going to be close to right, but check in, talk to me over there, and tell me about Dollars Adams, or do it here. Techie Tommy is here. Another very cool YouTube moniker, if ever there was one. Sound is good, says Tellawit 202. Thank you. I just installed Termux and Kali Linux on my old cell phone. Okay. I was doing some experimenting in the last 24 hours or so, and I had this Raspberry Pi sitting here, and it's, well, that's the one that I want to use for my shindig, and I couldn't figure out how to log into it because I couldn't figure out what it is. I used this one with 5 or 6 different micro SD cards, and of course I wanted to do 2 things before I put in a new card. One was to log into it and update it, whatever it is, before I yank the card, and 2, to identify what the heck is it. So I poked around. It took me a little while to figure it out that was my Kali box, and I haven't updated the Kali box in quite some time, so I did an upgrade on there, and that was a good solid 20-25 minutes of work. But back in business now, and the project that I have on there is today's project, and when I'm done with it, I'll scrap that project and go back to Kali or Rocky or Ubuntu or one of the fun things that I keep over there. There's Doom over there for that one, and RetroPie. What are you? That's the Rocky one. Andre, I've got my access. Now I need to start studying even more. I was finishing school, but I have to start on Sec Plus 2. You got 90 days to get ready. You can always win again. And I thought I saw a post that you had over on Discord that said you're starting a new position. You're moving from intern to employee. Is that right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I was trying to get your stuff on Udemy, but I couldn't because I was told there'd be a change in October. That's right. So on Wednesday's show, our head of production, video production, came on, and when Mike and Steve were pontificating when the 11.0x series of online Udemy courses would be released, Shannon came on and said mid-October. So we always knew that it was going to be no later then October 20th, and it looks like we're going to be a little bit earlier. I know that some of the episodes have already been uploaded. It's a process, right? And so we shoot the video, and then the video goes to the editing department, and they fix any bobbles and pauses and things like that, and then they add the branding and the lower thirds, keywords and terms and phrases and things like that. And then somebody who isn't a subject matter expert has to watch an episode and create quiz questions based on what they've heard. And then they work with other people to come up with wrong answers. So they'll write a question and the right answer. And if they know something about the topic, they'll create some wrong answers, but it goes through another list of people until we finally get all this done. Those have to be done for every section, every chapter. So it's quite the process, but it's all moving along, and it's going to happen here. This is September 16th. So it looks like in the next 30 days, plus or minus. Yeah, so hang on, Dollar Adams. If you haven't started the 10OX series, wait till the 11OX comes out. If you've started it, nothing wrong with continuing it. A lot of the stuff from 10OX is repeated in 11OX. Some of it gets pulled out on the order of 25%, and about 25% new material gets added. But that just means when you're watching the 11OX, you can say, oh, I learned this stuff, bzz, spin on. Ooh, there's a British phrase, spin on all. That's short for Holly. Okay. Check total SEM site, 11OX. Yeah, no books yet. We're still waiting for printers who are waiting for paper. They're catching squids and squeezing them to get ink. Did I forget my password? I forgot the name of the stupid thing. When I put a card in there, I usually put a Post-it up there to say what it is, but I didn't. So I used a scanner, and that didn't help because Callie hides from scanners, and I never put anything there to make it advertise. So I wound up going to the pile of micro SD cards. They all have Post-its on them until I found a container that was missing. I was, oh, okay, it's Callie. That's right. Finally, I listened to Job and got a job. Okay, listen to Mike and got a job. Outstanding. Well, good. All right. Well, we're building a little bit of people here. Let's talk about what's in my notes for today. Get that stuff all out of the way. Ooh, Fedora. We got to talk briefly about Fedora today. So this is drama. We get together every Friday, 2:00 Central Time for 2 hours to talk about all things technology. Computers is our bailiwick, and CompTIA certifications right along in with there. And then we kind of skew the focus a little bit to use Raspberry Pi computers as tools to foster technological learning. Most of the time when I do a project, it has something to do with a CompTIA certification. Today will be an exception to that. Today is just fun and interesting thing to do with Raspberry Pis, and this stuff that we're going to do today can be done on any flavor of Linux, can be done on Windows, can be done on Mac, can be done on Android machines, can be done on systems whose core processors are the main big three GPUs, FreeBSD I saw in the list. Man, we got a fun project today. It is Friday. I started at 2:00. If you're tracking the date, it is, if you're watching this live, September 16th, where I am and where most of our live watchers are. This is drama number 110. I know. They just keep going up. I live and love that stuff. We do AMAs 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I don't do the Monday and Wednesday ones. Mike Myers, the man himself, author, former president of Total Seminars, but he's moved up and beyond now to the parent company of Total Seminars, which is National Cyber Group. He's a senior vice president there now, having left the presidency or whatever position titles there are to his partner and CEO in the organization. They got bought out, and we got bought out. I guess we should say that. But I'm still a happy, healthy employee of Total Seminars. So Mike still does his show on Mondays and Wednesdays, same clock, 2:00 here, and same channel. And then he gives me a couple hours on Friday to get together with you and talk about technology and Raspberry Pis and Linux and CompTIA and. It is a live AMA if you're watching this live, and the best way to communicate with me is on the YouTube chat channel. If that's not possible for you, you can email me and get in contact with me via other methodologies, and you would do that by sending an email either to me at my Total Seminars address or at my personal address. Please don't do both. So you can reach me at daveR@totalsem.com, professional address. Personal email address, drushtx. I am Dave Rush in Texas at yahoo.com, just to make that easy to remember. The office has a number, and the number is manned, but not usually by anybody at the office. It's forwarded to one of several people who answer the phones and take messages and then get them delivered to appropriate personnel. But if you have to talk to somebody at the Total Seminars office, that's a starting place for you. If you want to catch me on LinkedIn, I got a LinkedIn profile that I'll post up there shortly, but you can just search for Dave Rush and Total Seminars in the same search, and you will find me there. Let's get this other stuff out of the way. Every Friday morning through Sunday night, I turn on my web server sitting up on top of this thing. It's forwarded. It's called pirsquare.zapto.org, pirsquare.zapto.org. And what you'll find there is all of the documents that I create to do my show every week, my outlines, my pictures, my PDFs, my notes, my. And so if you want to follow along and, read along with me as I do this, I do a lot of direct reading. You're welcome to do that. Just head over to that server, hit the download links, and I have restructured the downloads page. I'll show you that in a couple of minutes. It's much neater. You don't have to go down through 110 entries anymore. You can if you want. I saved that page and made it accessible, but I've organized them into annual orders. So there's all the episodes chronologically in 2020, 2021, and 2022. I even have a link for the 2023. You'll have if you click on that, you'll see something hopefully clever. Just because you're kind enough to join us here, we have specials for everybody who watches the AMAs, Mike's AMAs and mine. Every week, we set up a new special. This week, it's 50% off a bundle that you create. What you do is you go to totalsem.com and pick a topic, one of these 7 topics that strikes your fancy: A+, Net+, Sec+, Cybersecurity Analyst Plus, and so forth. We don't have the 1100 series A+ stuff yet, but it'll be happening fast. But you can still get the 10OX series. And what you do is you put 2 things in your basket before you check out. One, the ebook, not the hardcover book. It's got to be the ebook for the topic here. And then for the same topic, the Total Tester practice test. You put both of those in your basket, and then when you check out, the code this week to get 50% off is marathon. Monday of this week is the traditional day that the marathon runner from Sparta, the Spartan marathon runner, delivered the message of success in battle back to Athens before he keeled over and died. A lot of rewrites on that story, and the dates are suspect and the route is suspect, but it's where the term marathon comes from. He supposedly ran the 26.2 miles or so from marathon. It wasn't 26.2, as a matter of fact, back then. It was turned into 26.2 miles. I did some research on this during an Olympic year so that the finishers of the marathon would finish precisely in front of the royal grandstands. So that code is good through this Sunday night, September 18th. On Monday morning, we'll have a shiny new code. And I can't remember what it is, but my codes are always cool. There is a Discord channel. We've mentioned it once or twice here. By the way, I'll put all the links for all this stuff up as soon as I get done showing these slides. It's the unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel. It's unofficial because Nobody at Total Seminars has anything to do with owning or operating with it. There are a handful of us that are members, users are there, but we're not owners, we're not even moderators. But it's a great place to hang out, to learn, to offer your expertise. A lot of areas of interest there. Do encourage you to come on over, check it out. I'm logged in there 24 hours a day. If I'm awake and my computer's on, how's that? Then I'm sitting here usually in front of it, except for maybe a dinner break. And so if you want to communicate with me, that's another method. Just ping me right there, and there's a very good chance you'll get me directly. By the way, I did mention that my web server is up Friday morning through Sunday night. It's true. If you need it up, let's say you're watching this on the archive in the middle of a Wednesday, and Dave's server's not up, send me an email, ping me on Discord, and tell me what time you want it to be up, when you'll be available to download from it, and poof, it will be up and available for you. I will bring it up for an hour or two. So if you're a hacker, Scarheart just fired up Civ 6 VI. Somebody go jump on Steam and tell Scarheart he's not supposed to be playing there. He's supposed to be watching. Anyway, so I will bring it up on demand. How's that? And that's all for now. We'll bring this other stuff up later. All right, let me get some of those links posted and published, because you're all nice people and you deserve them all. It takes a second to get all of these, so stand by just a moment while I copy and paste hundreds of messages. All right, we'll start with my server. Over here, there we go. And then the Discord server, my mouse pad. Or my mouse. Something weird is going on. There is such high friction. I'm moving my mouse and the entire mouse pad is moving. Look, stuff. I need two hands to run my mouse. It's time for a new mouse pad. I bought 9 new neoprene mouse pads just the other day because I could feel this coming on. Oh, heck, let's put this. Let's post trivia for fun. Okay. Oh, I see next week's code. Next week's code is pretty cool. Here's my email address. Stop it. I don't know what you just did, but it wasn't good. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, there's an email address. And here's my LinkedIn profile, and that should be about everything that we need to put up there for the moment. Double-sided tape will fix it. I don't want double-sided tape on my lovely desk. Not, I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, I guess you can kind of see it. It's, it's not clean or shiny anymore. I've had this thing for well over a decade, perhaps coming. It's a real thick, heavy neoprene. But the surface of it is just a goner. Okay, done with that stuff. Shrink you down. Let's go back to the notes. I'll finish up some notes and then we'll catch up on more massages. All right, so that was ways to contact Dave, and we did specials and we showed contact information, and the code is marathon. Let's go see messages. Then I'll come back to this. There, the latest CompTIA A+ exam series. No, Andre, I don't put Post-its on the SD card. Those little, here, I put a Post-it on the little plastic carriers for the SD cards. All right, I'm looking at timestamps here. $212 out on the latest CompTIA A+ exam series. 2/20/11/01 and 11/02 became effective in April 2022. In fact, I will be specific here. How about it became effective on April 20th of 2022, and the old series and will be retired on October 20th. Thank you. All of those things are true. We do say that every show multiple times. So I appreciate that you agree with us. Thank you, Tommy. I'm ready to buy vouchers. Does Total sell vouchers with the retake? You know, if you'd asked me that 10 days ago, I'd say, nope, we just sell vouchers. But that was 10 days ago. Now, I haven't seen anything on the website yet, but I know that the answer to that is yes or will be yes. They're just setting up all the procedures in-house to track who needs retakes and when and so forth. So the answer to that is going to be yes. If it's not already yes, I'll tell you what. Let me send a text to somebody and they will come on and probably use the Total Seminars avatar. Stand by. I haven't texted this person in a long time. We usually do communications via back channel. Please come to the chat on drama and give us some idea when retake voucher program begins, period. Thank you, period. So I'm ready to buy vouchers. Yes. Okay. So that was a 214. So yes, stick around here for a little bit. We will get a more authoritative answer as far as timing and all that stuff goes in short order. Mike is creating an ever expanding empire. We better check to make sure he's not a Sith. Okay. So you've just tripped my trigger. 2 nights ago, the missus and I were having dinner in front of TV. And we didn't want to watch anything that was on TV. And I went to one of my favorite movie repositories and picked something she didn't care for, picked something else. And I didn't know what it was. It was something about Obi-Wan. And so let's go see what this is. And so we fired it up. And what it was an extremely self-serving 1-hour documentary / commercial on the behind the scenes of the new Obi-Wan series. I was offended. I was intellectually offended that they would use that as such a blatant marketing tool. However, it worked. It totally piqued my interest. And so last night we found the streams on site and watched the first episode of the Obi-Wan series. A lot of spoilers that we got from the that documentary. It was kind of unfortunate. I find it to be incredibly formulaic and completely predictable. Even without that, nonetheless, enjoyable. So I'm watching Siths. Techie Tommy, 215, Total Sem, not Total Cell. We do it all. Andre says, have some Jedi to check on him. Hey, Dave says, it must be me. Nice to see you. You are so regular. You catch all Mike's shows. You catch my show. Thank you so much for joining as ever. May the 4th. No, that's not coming up until May the 4th. No one at Total Sem, but Tully and I do have some things good. Okay. Yeah. So I hope you guys are talking with Mike about the proposal that he presented the other day. I'm very excited. Obviously, you guys are obviously the 2 big targets. Patricia Grace, excellent target for that. We're going to need some Northeasterners. So, and definitely some more international presence. So I look forward to seeing what you guys do. Tully is my old master said, find the Sith, we will. Hide forever, they cannot. All right, all my posts started around 21 minutes past the hour. And then 23, it's one of those 80s mouse pads. Probably. I don't think it's that old. It may be. It may be. It's really heavy duty neoprene. It's thicker than the heaviest wetsuit that I've ever worn, even in very cold diving. Catherine Legrand is here. Huzzah, nice to see you back as ever and always. Betland, who was a newcomer recently and came right in and won a prize right off the bat. Outstanding. Nice to see you back, Betland. Techie Tommy, do you guys this little Sam have any A+ vouchers that also come with retake? So again, that's what I was talking about earlier. The answer is it's happening. It may have already happened. I don't know. Check totalsem.com and see if they're there. But if not, I've spilled the beans. It's going to happen. I thought you won something. Maybe I'm wrong. But today's your chance to do it again, if you did, or if you didn't. Computer's on, but nobody's on. All right. Let's get to the rest of the try to use code, but it kept showing already been applied. So I see no change in the total. So if you've already used that to buy something, you can't use it again, but the new code will be effective on Monday. If it's not working, there's a contact email on the order page. Just contact them and let them know if there's a problem. But lots of people have ordered this week and used the code. So it's all lowercase and it's Marathon, MARATHON. Excuse me. But don't buy anything yet, Dollar Adams. If you're going to buy a total tester, hang on to the rest of the show is over or halfway over, because we're going to give away the total tester of your choice sometime today. Last of the tough contest, by the way. There's going to be a multiple guess, hard. It's not too hard. You can figure this one out. Even if you don't know the topic, if you know a little bit about computers and networking and security, you will be able to figure out the right answer today for the answer to the question. But again, if you've already applied, I don't know. Contact the people on at the bottom of that page and they'll help you out. Dollars Adam, this is my first time. I don't know, contact them. There's nothing I can do here, and I'm not associated with the sales platform. So I'm debating whether or not I should wear this hat. I have a large hat collection in this one. I wore this hat for 2 years when I worked in Arabia. And, you know, for Arabia, that for some people, it elicits an emotional response. So not intending to do that. It's another hat that I haven't worn in a long time. I've never worn it for drama. And when I'm using the ring light, this really isn't helping much. The whole goal is to kind of keep some of the ring light lights out of my eyes, but I think it's just making it worse. The white is all blown out and whatever, but it's a hat. I do hats. I have 2 more hats on the way. You're gonna love them. And of course, we got Halloween coming up. 6 weeks to Halloween episode. I just have so much fun with that one. I know I'm dragging things along. All right, back to my notes here. This is did that. So we got a project today, and the project is called Boink. Right? If you've seen my post on LinkedIn, the title of the article was "It's okay to boink with your computer," or boink on your computer. I'll get into what it means and what it is and all that stuff. But the cool thing about Boink is it's available for Raspberry Pi. It's available for Windows, at least 8, I think 7 it'll work on. And certainly everything after that, Win 10, Win 11, Mac OS, x86 versions of Linux, and many, many, many more. I'll show you all that stuff. And so you could do this project on there, but you can't follow the steps that I'm going to do today. The steps that I'm doing today on our project that will start about the top of the hour of the next hour is designed specifically and exclusively for Raspberry Pi, at least for the first half of the install. After that, the second half of the install, it's going to be the same for almost all the platforms. I presume. I don't play with some of the platforms. All right, that's done. That's done. We've got that. So where we've been and where we're going. Last week, we looked at SMART, self-monitoring and reporting technology. This is technology that's built into SSDs and hard drives that tracks error conditions so that we can predict potential failures and certainly well, we should be backing up regularly all the time. If you're not, use smart periodically and say, "Ooh, man, we're getting a lot of errors. I better back up now because failure is imminent." And so we showed how to do that graphically on Windows using a very popular program called Crystal Disk Info. We showed you how to use a built-in command in Microsoft PowerShell called WMIC. And then I showed you how to use a command line utility in Linux, SmartCTL, which requires that you load SmartMon tools or install SmartMon tools, all one word, and then you'll have access to that. Check out the episode. There was a couple hiccups in there. It was because I picked I did two things. One, I was poorly prepared. I did my prep a week before the show and I didn't review my prep, so I couldn't find where I had installed Crystal Disk Info. It took me a minute to hunt down. And then the other one, I'm using a bad hard drive as my example, and it worked when I practiced it, but then it failed during the presentation. So bad planning. I practiced everything on today's presentation today. So where are we going today? We're going to install BOINC, BOINC, on a Raspberry Pi. And what is BOINC? Well, it stands for Berkeley Open Infrastructure for Networking Computer. And what it means is this: there is a central computer to which you can connect your computer, get software from that computer, it's all automated, that's appropriate for your type of computer, and then they will send you data to work on that or with that software that they've installed in your system during its idle time. When the CPU is below some threshold that you set, and says, well, okay, you know, Fred's not playing Minecraft right now. I got 4% CPU utilization. There's nothing better to do. I'll work on this BOINC project. And there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of different projects that you can select from to have your computer to do work on. So once it's worked on that project and done everything that can be done on the data chunk you've gotten, the results get sent by your computer up to headquarters, and they send you down another chunk to work on. Well, you do that with 10 computers or 100 computers or 1,000 computers or 10,000 computers or hundreds of thousands of computers. And what we're doing is helping the scientific community and many other communities. I'll go through all of those with you in a little while to help alleviate a computer crunch. They don't have hundreds of giant mainframes sitting around, but if they use tens of thousands of individual board computers, you can do this when you're sleeping, you can do it whenever they're idle. That really helps them out. So we've seen, I'll talk about some stuff in the past. You may recall, some of you who have been around for a few years, the SETI project, SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. That was a project that used this distributed massively parallel technique. That program has long since been shelved, but that software has been morphed a couple of times until what is today BOINC. And today it's a de facto standard protocol for doing massively independent parallel individual host processing. It's really kind of fun. I've got a tutorial that I'm using, you know, pretty close to verbatim. So let me show you, let me put that tutorial link on the YouTube chat. BOINC on Raspberry Pi. Let's make it Raspberry tutorial. There we go. And do I want to do this? Yeah, I do. Oh, that's the project list. There's the tutorial link. So BOINC on Raspberry Pi. It's over on Linux Hint. And it's written by a guy who I wanted to get in touch with to, number one, thank him for his article. Number two, to let him know he had some pretty notable typos in there. And I'll explain those typos, and it's not a big deal. Easy to figure out. But he has written a lot of projects on Linux Hint. So that's where we're going. And that's where we're going to go next. This is where you get a list of projects, boink.berkeley.edu, projects.php. I'll put that link up in a couple of minutes and you can go check out the project. I'm going to show you all the projects before that because they be fun. All right, let's check messages and we'll come back and do news, tricks, and techniques. Where are we at here? 223, 80s mouse pads. Betland came in at 24. Oh, Dollars Adams. So the code, I have a theory. The only way that code works is if you put the two selected items, pick something from A plus and put the A plus ebook and the A plus total tester practice test in the basket and then whatever else you want. And then when you check out, you use the code marathon and you will get 50% off of those two items, right? So you don't get 50% off everything, just those two things. Basically, you're getting one for free when you do this. Okay, that was it. I'm caught up on questions then. Interesting news, tricks, and techniques of the week. So hopefully you got to see Mike's show 2 days ago on Wednesday. He had Steve Nicholson on. Steve Nicholson was on 2 weeks previously. It was so nice. We did it twice. And Steve and Mike talked about 11.0x. In fact, we got kind of hung up on 220.11.01 objectives and didn't get through them all. We didn't get into the 11.02. So we're going to do it again in 2 weeks from Wednesday on the 28th. Steve Nicholson will be back and he'll finish out the 220.00 or 10.01s and we'll refine the program. We're kind of working in the background to make sure that, you know, we're a little focused. Those two get together and they just like to talk and laugh and drift. And I do my thing in the background and try to be producer director, and they just have no interest in paying any attention to my direction. The only thing they're interested in is questions that I catch off of the feed and they read those. So I have the easiest job as director in the world. I'm just willing to accept what my actors will do. And this coming Monday, Mike has another special guest, Richard Chapman. He does a regular show with Mike and Richard together. They call their show Two Bald Guys Talking. Richard is the campus manager for CyberNow Labs. And they will be talking about why it's a good move to consider a career in security, IT security. So that's this Monday, September 19th. Okay, I want to share something. Mitch, you ever so quick like. I don't need to do this, but it's in my notes. I do stuff like that. Which page? This page, this page. Okay, now we share that. So this is what you see now when you click on the downloads link at pirsquare.zapto.org. What you used to see was this, just a list of 100 and some odd chronologically listed shows. But now here's the 2020 shows. That's all there is. There will be about 50 2021 shows as we take Christmas off. But, you know, it's not 110. And we're only 2/3 of the way through 2023. We're not in 2023 yet. 2022. We're only 2/3 of the way through 2023. I get it. You know what I'm saying. All right. So it's much cleaner now. Somebody asked me to organize them by category, and I couldn't figure out how to do that. And they didn't have any suggestions to offer. So I just recategorized and cleaned them up chronologically. More tricks, news, traps. Okay, research of that. I mentioned this about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that Fedora Linux was going to be supported by Raspberry Pi. Well, the beta has released. So if you're interested in participating with another Red Hat distro, it's Fedora Linux 37 beta. And it comes with a newly fully revamped Genome 43 and one of the most anticipated and exciting releases of the year. I'm not going to read all my notes on it, but it's cool. Yesterday, I needed to make a new image of Raspberry Pi operating system. So I fired up Raspberry Pi Imager and two wonderful things happened. One, it gave notifications, never done this, that says, hey, there's a new one available. Yay, right? Because you never know how long and how outdated Raspberry Pi Imager is. Sometimes I tell you, hey, I found a new one, make sure you update this. And that means I check every few months. But now it's finally built in. It's got an automated checker. And so I downloaded and installed a new one. And then I used it to install a new image that we're going to use today for our show. So for me, very exciting. Oh, I see what happened there. Okay. On a personal note. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. This is a lot of fun. So when I was a little wee child going through my first 6 years of school, my family moved a lot. I don't think I ever did one entire year at a grade school. I'm actually certain of that. I never did. We finally kind of settled down around the time I was in 6th grade. We moved to a town and we stayed in that same town until I completed high school. Very exciting. So there I was in 6th grade elementary school, and I went out to recess with my newfound classmates and friends, and something weird was happening out there. All the usual stuff that you would find in an elementary school, a primary school playground were there. Right? There's monkey bars and things to climb on and ropes and whips and chains and all that good stuff. But there was a pile of unicycles, and everybody would rush over and grab a unicycle, and there weren't enough to go around. There was a couple dozen of them and 80 kids, more than that, whatever it was. And they would share, but all these kids riding unicycles. Well, this is a thing in this little town that we had moved to. All the grade school kids learn how to ride unicycles starting in 1st and 2nd grade. I tried it a couple of times and got nowhere. Okay, fast forward now to 2022. Losing weight, getting back in shape, balance improving. And I said, you know what? It's one of those projects that should be done, should be completed. It's kind of like the bow tie project. And I'm getting very good at that now, finally. A little ways to go, but I can tie it with my eyes closed now. It's sloppy, but it's getting better. So I bought a unicycle, and I have been working on my unicycle for about a week, and I'm only good for a couple of seconds right now. And it's, the feet here, and I can go backward and forward about this much. I haven't got a full pedal yet going all the way, but I'm learning to ride a unicycle and having a good time. Went out to what is that? Man, bad typing. I can't spell tie, spelled with a T-I-E. Won't be long, and I will be buzzing my little unicycle around. The ultimate goal, ride my unicycle while tying a bow tie. All right. That's all of that nonsense. The next thing we do from my notes is the TTO giveaway, which we're going to start in about 2 minutes. Let's see if there's any other questions I missed. And then we will do that. Patricia Grace at 241 asks, anybody have experience with the new Epson printers that come with large ink supply? Wow, I've never heard of a printer, new or old, that came with a large ink supply. I have no such experience. I will tell you, though, that I looked at my printer the other day, and I looked at my developing Linux daily driver and said to myself, I said, self, we got to make that thing, got to make those two work together. My regular in-office printer and my new Linux driver, daily driver. So I'm going to work on that, and I will probably turn that into a show, how to print from your Raspberry Pi to a traditional printer. The biggest problem with that is drivers. Not a lot of manufacturers make Linux drivers at all, and then take that fairly short list and then shrink it down for those that make ARM-based, Raspberry Pi OS-based drivers. Andre answers you, doesn't play nice with Win11. What's the difference, asks Dollar Adams at 247, between your Udemy course and your ebook Total Tester bundles? Well, the Udemy course is a video course, Dollars Adams. Ebook is a book. It's a PDF of our written 1,400 page book. And Total Tester is a practice test engine with, I don't know, 1,200 for A+, give or take 1,200 questions of practice tests. We have practice test offerings on Udemy, one for the Core 1 exam and one for Core 2. And those each have 270 questions. They are 3 90-question practice tests. You can take them over and over and over, by the way. Lots of people ask that. So the difference between the practice test product that we sell, either as part of the marathon bundle or the special, the AMA special, let's call them that. We never did give them a good official name, is quantity. So the ones that you can get directly from our website, you're going to pay a little more, but you're going to get 1,200 practice test questions, and they include all of the Core 1 and Core 2 questions. It's totally configurable. It's got images. It's an amazing difference. It's hugely different. All you get, and I don't want to say all you get, but what you get with the practice tests that are available on Udemy is what their platform supports, which is basically multiple choice and multiple select questions. So, you know, we can't do anything interactive. We can't do anything like Total Sims there. You get a question and click one correct answer and get it graded. Or this question has 2 correct or 3 correct answers, and that's everything that you get on Udemy. Ebook takes a long time, a lot of paper and a lot of ink to print. I believe that there is one person over on the Unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel who has probably done that. And you know who I'm talking about. Hey, what do we got here? 13 concurrent users right now. Tough. I'm going to do a contest. I said I wouldn't do one last week. I changed my mind. And I will pick the winner from all of the entries that have right answers. Just because you're first doesn't mean you're going to be the winner that I picked. I'm going to lean toward people who have not won in the past, or who have not won a lot in the past, or who have not won recently in the past. You get my idea. So the deal is, I'm going to put up a question. It's going to be a question from the SY0601 Security Plus Total Tester data bank of questions. It's a multiple choice question. It has 1 correct answer. You must type in completely the correct answer. So if you think the correct answer is Dave wears cool hats, that's what you got to type in. Dave wears cool hats. I'll accept minor typos on today, but got to answer it generally to my satisfaction. And what do you get if you are among Dave's selected winners? You will win for free 90-day access to any Total Tester product of your choice. And I will post up some information after the contest to identify the winner and what you must do in order to collect your loot. I'm getting that ready to post right now. Stand by. There we go. Total Tester contest winner goes here. And then we bring up the document that has, oh my, what's today's date? Today's the 16th. There we go. Okay, that's where that goes. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Like I said, my voice was so good today. And then that happened. Okay. Get the idea? You're going to get, I'll give you the 4 choices. You type in the one that you think is correct. You only get to type in an answer 1 time. So think about it carefully before you commit. And again, your odds of winning are really based on your right answer and your winning history. How's them apples? Okay, let me get my question up and ready to go. That's where that is. That's all lined up. This is going to be the last of my hard multiple choice ones. I came up with 3 of them about 3 weeks ago and put them in my list so I didn't have to think about them or study real hard. I don't know what's going to happen there. Cancel that. Something is not pretty. All right, I'm just going to hit it. We'll see what happens. See if it shares. Screen sharing has stopped. Shared window is closed. I had a feeling something terrible was going to happen. There we go. Now it's going to work. I see it. Okay, question going up on screen right now. It's a SY0601 Security Plus question from our current database of questions, and go. So the question is, which from the list type of attack downgrades HTTPS connections to HTTP? Your 4 choices are Ssl stripping, cross-site scripting, SQL injection, DDoS. So again, the question, which type of attack downgrades HTTPS connections to HTTP? Answer choices. Ssl stripping, cross-site scripting, SQL injection, DDoS. So let me go check out. I see people making answers. Crazy, foolish people, you. No discount for Udemy. Udemy sale ended yesterday, but there's always a new one coming up. They're usually 1 or 2 weeks apart. So there's one person up there in Canada. Okay. I'm reading answers as they're coming by. Tolowit, I can always count on you. To do what? I don't know, but I can always count on you. See, more answers still coming in. Rather. I don't know what that means. Oh, okay. You're correcting a typo. I understand. All right. Not a ton of participants anymore. Everybody else done yet? I'm not sure if we had a right answer in there or not yet. I'll bring up the right answer page in just a momento. All right, let me put the answer up. Excuse me. The answer is SSL stripping. And like I said at the beginning of the broadcast today, of the show, if you know a little bit about networking, if you know just a little bit about websites, you'll know that HTTPS is secure HTTP, and that security comes from having an SSL certificate installed. So if we strip that SSL certificate through some interesting processes, we're not actually physically pulling one out of a web server, but we do it as a kind of an inline attack, then it becomes HTTP and is a heck of a lot easier to hack. And so the answer, SSL stripping, I got other answers in here, but that will do. So let me stop that share. So I like what happened. Today's winner meets all the criteria, has not won in the past at all, and was first to answer correctly. So Betland, you are our winner today. You win 90-day free access to Total Seminars, to a Total Tester Online, TTO. We have too many total name products. I've posted at 59 minutes past the hour the instructions on what you're going to send. And let me put it up on the screen as well, because I want you, since you're the last guy this week, last winner this week, to get it right the first time. Because if you don't get it right, I just send you back an email that says you didn't get it right, resubmit. So we'll share this. So Betland, what you're going to do is you're going to send an email to me at my TotalSem address, daver@totalsem.com. And in the body of the email, you must put these 4 fields. Don't use things like same as above, or I need 4 separate lines here, each with the information on it. Your YouTube name, Betland. Your given name, first name and surname. The email address that you want us to send your credentials to, and that will be what you use as your login name, and which practice test you want by exam number, right? So if you want A+, you're going to say 220-10OX. We don't have 11OX yet. And A+ is the only one that's a bundle, right? If you say 220-10OX, you will get both 1001 and 1002. Everything else is one product. So if you want Network Plus, you say N10-008, and that's the one you're going to get. All right, congratulations, Betland. Is there anything else on this? Yeah, that we're going to need. This was the last slide that I'm going to need, and I'll probably review the tutorial page. So 2 slides. All right, congratulations, Betland. We do these 3 times a week. Mike does a giveaway on his Monday show. Mike does a giveaway on his Wednesday show. Dave does a giveaway on his Friday show. So if you didn't win today, don't give up hope. Just join one of those shows and compete again. All right, incoming shortly. Very good. I'm glad you find this stuff interesting. I do too. Thanks, everybody. Sec Plus study time. It's going to be SY0601 for you, huh? Very good. All right, well, let's talk about our project today then. BOINC. Berkeley Open Infrastructure for Network Computing, BOINC. Today's project has no relevance to any particular CompTIA certification objectives. I picked it because I have done the last couple shows very tightly tied to CompTIA objectives, and I thought we all needed kind of a break to do just something fun and interesting. I like this project because the installation and configuration is very easy. There's no manual editing of configuration files. The install is done with 5 commands on the command line. Just run them exactly as I do. And again, download, go to pirsquare.zapto.org, download my notes today, and you'll see them in the outline, exactly the commands, so you can copy and paste them. You don't have to try and remember what's going on in the show or take notes or anything like that. The notes are already done for you. So the first 5 steps are putting in these 5 command line commands. One of them is actually just a test command, so if everything goes fine, you don't need to do that. And then the rest of it is done with graphical configuration utilities. So they'll take care of editing any configuration files and things like that. So what is it? BOINC is an open source, massive distributed processing project. It enables individuals to share their computing resources. I'm going to let this organization use CPU time on my computer to work on their project, as long as I'm not using my machine and it's not busy. And those projects are scientific communities and all kinds of other goodies. I'll show you those in a second. Tremendous number of communities who work on everything from physics to chemistry to biology and medicine and mathematics, cryptography and earth science. And there's even a project that does research on Minecraft. There's astronomy projects. There's a really good one up there that is attempting to create the most detailed topological map of our galaxy. So you find some project on there that strikes you as interesting, or multiple projects, you can do that. Set this up on your computer. Again, Windows, Mac, Raspberry Pi, whatever you got. And whenever it's bored, it will work for those folks. And when you sit down to your computer and you start doing stuff with it, it will pause the BOINC project and devote all of its energies to you. It's only when the CPU utilization drops below a certain threshold, a default threshold, or you can change the default, only then will it say, all right, I'll devote CPU cycles now to whatever BOINC project you have suggested. So BOINC is the protocol that's used to identify what computer you have, send down the appropriate software for the project that you've selected, send down data to be worked on with that software, collect it when it's time to collect. You get the idea. And then the projects, those have the individual data sets and the individual programs that will be run to work on those data sets. It's a lot of fun. So this all started out 20 years ago, farther back than that, maybe. I didn't look at the dates on it, with the SETI project, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. What they did is they took a bunch of radio telescopes and pointed them up into space and collected all kinds of radio frequency signals. And their goal was to analyze all those signals to see if there were patterns or other things that might indicate intelligence. And they didn't have enough computing power to do that. So they developed software to say, hey, Fred, would you lend me some CPU cycles? I'll send you software and I'll send you a chunk of what we've digitized and turned into data, and your system will work on that. And when it's completed its work, it'll send the results up there, and we'll amalgamate that with all the other people that are doing this. And so SETI was the first big project to do this. That morphed later on into a project called Folding at Home, and that has now morphed into BOINC and a lot more projects. And SETI isn't among them. SETI has been mothballed. So we're on our third generation of this massively parallel, shared, whatever. Nah, that's not quite accurate. So what does it run on? Well, it's up to the project developers to create software that will run on appropriate platforms. So everybody writes software to run on Windows, and a lot of Mac support out there, a lot of core Linux support, and then lesser support for the, I hesitate to use the term more obscure platforms, but you know, compared to Windows, Raspberry Pi platform is fairly obscure. Even though there's millions of them out there, there are hundreds of millions of Windows machines out there. So if a project chooses to write software that will run on a Raspberry Pi, then they will provide that in the configuration screens. And I'll show you those. You'll see those all as we go along, in fact, in very short order. So why do we want to run BOINC on a Raspberry Pi as opposed to a Windows or Mac machine? Well, there's a compromise here. Your Windows machine is pretty powerful, especially compared to a Raspberry Pi. So it can do a lot of work very quickly on a selected BOINC project. The penalty for that is it draws a lot of energy from your house that can actually impact, if you're doing this a long time, every month, your electric bill, to a lesser degree, your internet bill. Raspberry Pi, we can run the thing 24 hours a day at full CPU utilization, and it draws so little power, max 15 watts on a top end Raspberry Pi, that it's not a big deal. I can run it all month and notice a difference in my electric bill of 50 cents. So, but it's not going to produce as much, process as much, or as fast as a high powered, larger platform. Your BOINC host can be an individual host at your site, can be multiple hosts at your site working independently. You can even create BOINC clusters at your site. We'll do it simple today. One host at my site. There's about 30 plus projects to pick from, and you can set up multiple projects on a single host if you want. We'll spend a little time on this one, spend a little time on that one. So let me show you. First of all, I'm going to put up a link for the BOINC projects. That's over here. That's not what I expected to happen. Show notes over here. BOINC project list. Okay. So here's a website that has a list of all of the BOINC projects. I'm not going to bring it up on the the PDF thing, but I am going to share it with you so you can see it, because there's some things I want to show you on the project page. So for that, we go over to here, we go over to here, and then we share that. Good. All right, so the link that I just posted in the YouTube chat, boink.berkeley.edu, whackprojects.php, brings you to this page. And here's all the boinkable projects. I made up that word. I'm sure it's been used that way in the past. And you get some interesting things here. For instance, let's just pick one at random here, Earth Science, climatepredictions.net. If I just put my mouse over it, if I hover it, I didn't click on anything, then you get a full explanation of the goal of their project. Here's one in cosmologically. The goal of cosmology at home is to search for the model that best describes our universe and find the range of models that agree. All right. Then you can see what category it fits in, the area of science or study that it fits in, who handles the project, who's managing it. I don't know what these independents are, but there's only a handful of them. And then over here are the platforms for which there is software that you can participate with this. And again, you can hover over one and identify what they are. So for Raspberry Pis, you want the penguin that says ARM. Supports Linux on ARM, such as Raspberry Pi. Notice some of these other cool ones. There are systems out there that run core code on NVIDIA graphics cards, on Radeon graphics cards, over here on Intel graphics cards. Over here's another flavor of Linux, FreeBSD. There's Android platforms. So you got to pick this in advance. If you're going to set this up to work on an ARM, then you're not going to be doing cosmology at home, because ARM isn't one of their supported platforms. So pick something here. If you find something that's interesting, make sure it supports the platform that you're going to use. Of course, you can do this on Windows or anything. Is there anything on here that doesn't support Windows and Mac? This one doesn't support Mac. You get the idea. You can read it as well as I can. All right, let's unshare that. And so again, I'm going to post one more time the tutorial from which I got a lot of help for this. And I'm not going to put it up on the screen because you don't need that. You've heard my words. Oh, I'm doing it the hard way, for goodness sake. Let's go do it the easy way. It's here, here, show notes, today's tutorial. Click on that, click on that. Today's BOINC. BOINC on Ras Pi tutorial. Okay. And Andre will beat me around the head and neck if I don't repost at least once the link to the Discord channel. So let me throw that up here while I'm posting links. And a couple others. Here's the PyR Square server link. Here's the Discord invitation link. And here's today, this week's special. The special ends this Sunday night, at the end of night, whatever that is. All right, on to project then. I think I need you anymore. So let's shrink you down and get you out of the way. Did that, did that, did that, did that, did that. So here's the summary of our steps today. We start by installing on our Raspberry Pi the BOINC service. Then we install the BOINC client. And when I did some experimenting with this and I went to install the client, it said, you already have the latest client. So it may be that when we install the service, it also installs the client now, but it doesn't hurt to do it as an attempted step in case something's changed. Then we run a command to make sure that the BOINC service starts up every time the Pi boots. So we don't have to remember to do that. And then we launch the BOINC manager. So we pick our projects and register them and set our thresholds for how busy our CPU is or isn't when we want to run a project, things like that. For the first project that you select, new users will have to provide an email address that's going to be their login name and set a password. You'll have to identify a location, pick your projects. There's some menus to go through. I'll show you some of them. I'm not going to show you everything because it's all really easy stuff to figure out. You're all good, smart computer operators and technicians here. I hunted through a lot of sites to find a good working tutorial, and except for a couple typos in the one, the gent who wrote this off Linux Hint, I think his name is Awas. I'm slightly mispronouncing that, but good stuff, and kudos to you if you're watching this, Awas. I apologize for mispronouncing your name if and when you see this. What do I need for hardware? I need a Raspberry Pi. The more powerful, the better as far as helping out the project. However, it'll work on just about any Pi, all the way back to Pi Zeros and Pi 2s. Size of your storage device doesn't have to be big enough to hold whatever operating system you're running. Our Pi OS is usually about 5 gigs, and then there's only less than 100 megs or so of project stuff, so it doesn't take much. I did this on an 8 gig card. Today I'm going to use a Raspberry Pi 4 because that was the one that was in reach, and I'm using a 16 gig card because that was the one that was in reach. But you could do smaller or lesser. So we're going to start with the installations. As with all installations, the first step that you should ever and always do is do sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. And I always do a reboot if I'm going to do a big major project before that. I did those this morning. I'm not going to run you through that. They should happen quickly, but every now and again, they throw a ringer at us and, oh, something new came up and it's a huge update, and I wouldn't want to get burned here demonstrating that. So let me set up a, I'm going to do, like I said, the first 5 steps are done on the command line. Now we could connect to our Pi with VNC and then run the terminal application in there. You could, of course, direct connect with a monitor and keyboard and mouse and run terminal in there. But for these first 5 steps, I'm going to use PuTTY. PuTTY Pi at Boink Pi, BOINC Pi.local. Nope, I know you can't see it yet. Stand by. Password is Raspberry, RASPBERRY. Navi share. You go there, share screen, pick this one, and we're sharing. For the second half of the install, I'll switch over to VNC and we'll do the graphical utility. So the first thing we do, which I'm not going to hit the enter key on, is sudo apt update. You can hit the enter key here, and when it's done, do sudo apt upgrade. I always combine the commands together. Do this, then do that. Sudo apt -y upgrade. So it doesn't ask me, hey, we're going to upgrade. Are you sure you want to do this? And if I'm going to do a big or major project, I'll follow that up with something like sudo reboot. And buzz, grind. The one that I did this morning, well, I did it yesterday, and then I did it again this morning just to take effect. This was a new install, fresh, shiny, new, generated with that new version of Raspberry Pi Imager. And the update took about 10 minutes. Okay, so packages are updated and upgraded. Now we're ready to start the project. This first step takes 20 seconds or so on my system. If you use an older, slower system, maybe one with less memory, it might take a little bit longer. So we're going to run sudo apt install boink, and we'll do the -y so that it doesn't prompt us with, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Are you sure you want to do it? Yes or no? Bam. So about 20 seconds from now, it should be done. So I'm counting within the 5 steps, the update and upgrade. There's going to be less as far as actually doing the project. And we're done. Okay. So the BOINC service has been installed and it looks, oh, and certainly the BOINC manager has also done. It looks, we'll find out when we run this, as if it also installed the BOINC client, which is the thing that reaches out and says, hey, I want to work on your project. Send me the stuff I need. And this is really fast as an install. Sudo apt install boink-client, again, -y. Start your clock, and here goes. Done. 4 seconds or so. So done. BOINC client is already the newest version. So it looks like the BOINC service, BOINC, also automatically installed the client. Now we're going to start the client every time my Pi boots. So I'm doing a copy paste here with my fun little mouse pad. So for that, we're going to do sudo system control start the BOINC client. And it's instantaneous. All done. Now let's check the client status and make sure that it's running. So for that, we'll run system. I think you got to, no, I ran this with copy paste without sudo. So system control status of the BOINC client. Enter, buzz, grind. It sent the results out to the less command. I'm not happy with that. Shows service, BOINC client service disabled, but it's active. That's what I care about. It's disabled because it's not running any projects right now. So this is the key to the game here. Active, yes, it's active. So I'll hit the letter Q to get out of that. And I misled you a little bit here. The command we ran earlier was to start the service. This command is the one that's going to make sure that it's there all the time, every time it boots. So that's system control enable BOINC client. And this one's about a 3-second operation. 2, 3, done. Okay, now every time I boot my system, it'll work. I'm done. I don't need the command line anymore. In short, we ran 3 commands that were necessary. We installed BOINC, sudo apt install BOINC. We installed the BOINC client, sudo apt install BOINC-client. Then we started the BOINC client, sudo system control start BOINC-client, and then not necessarily required, we tested it with a system control status of BOINC client, so we don't need to do that. And then we finished it up with make sure that it starts every time the system boots with sudo system control enable BOINC-client. 4 commands. For all the time that I took here, we could have done that in 45 seconds. So I'm done with this. I'm now going to take you to the graphical world to finish it up. Exit. Done with that. Let me fire up VNC and connect to that server. Password Raspberry RASPBERRY. And then share. Now, there's always something fun about doing this. I have to go back and forth between my notes and this. Okay, we are sharing the screen. So this is a brand spanking new, fresh install. The only thing on here is today's BOINC stuff. Notes over here. Now, if you follow the tutorial, everything that I'm going to do is shown with cut out pictures. So you can follow that along perhaps a little better and easier here. What I've done in my notes is just talk you through step by step. Click this, then click that, then clicks the next button, type in an account name here, So you can follow mine, you can follow them both. And I'm not going to do everything in the tutorial. I'm going to take you up to a configuration screen, and the rest, like I said, is so easy to figure out that there's not much point here. How are we doing on time? 24. We're in great shape on time. I probably could, should, would do this. So because this is a fresh install, I haven't done all of the steps here that you're supposed to do. And I selected that on purpose. I didn't want to register for a project because I wanted you to see what's going to happen the first time we do that. And also I'm going to have to deregister when I'm done anyways, because I'm not going to dedicate this machine to be a BOINC. That card is going to come out of there and get used for next week's project. So we're cold. So step number one is open up the BOINC manager. To do that, we click on the Raspberry application icon. We go down to system tools. That didn't exist before we installed BOINC. And so it was created and the BOINC manager was created. I don't have any projects. We got to add a project. So this is all pretty obvious stuff. You have to have studied in advance a project that you want to work on. The tutorial selected LHC, which is the Large Hadron Collider, right? The super collider in Bern, Switzerland. They call it the LHC at CERN. And what they do as a project is they perform simulations. So you're going to get a piece of a simulation. And the point of these simulations is, not to simulate particle interactions, but to simulate what a detector detects so that they can improve the design and installation and function of their detectors. Now, one of the nice things about this, can I expand that? Now, I can't expand this screen, but you can see the supported systems are down here. You can also see where the project URL is. There's project details up here. So I don't know what Athena is. Project to generate dynamic topological model of the internet based on measurements from distributed services. Only works on Windows, traditional Linux. Oh, there we go. And Raspberry Pi. But I'm going to follow their example. We'll play around with CERN. But you could filter these down. I only want to see bio and med projects. I only want to see physics projects, earth science projects, physical sciences. You get the idea. What is Dennis? Cardiac electrophysiological simulations studying the electrical activity of the heart. Okay, cool. And don't volunteer too much. They may want your heart. And make sure I'm not going to miss a step here by guessing, but it's all pretty obvious and easy stuff. So system tools, we selected BOINC manager. You picked your project according to your platform. Do your research first, but you don't have to. You can see you can get it from here. Now, if you follow the tutorial, they selected LHC at home, except they typoed it 3 times and called it lc.home. Okay, LHC, it says from here, the tutorial switches to follow the screen captures. Okay, so we'll choose LHC at home. And this was interesting to me as I looked at it. Only one GPU is in the supported platforms, and it's the Radeon one, not the NVIDIA one, which typically is a much more popular platform for scientific-based calculations than AMD. Much less so the Intel systems, but whatever. Just an interesting point to note. Back to notes, speaking of which. Okay, so the next thing they want us to do is click next. Then we're going to agree to terms. Then we're going to set up an email address and log in and set a password. So, okay, next. This project may not have worked for you. Okay, so this is something I wanted to mention. Sometimes there are so many participants, or there are so many more powerful machines that you might not get to play. So, okay, yeah, we'll add it anyways. I got nothing to lose. Maybe they'll use me, maybe they won't. So now we're communicating with the project. He's going to send down software and make sure that he can talk to me in a way that he's happy. He's making sure that I've got the BOINC service going on my machine and the BOINC client. So we'll agree to the terms. You might even want to read them. Next, and now I'm a new user. So the first time you're a new user, you got to set up an account here. And minimum character length. I don't know if this is going to show characters. No, okay. My nice complicated password. Everything's there. And buzz, 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 grind, grind, grind. It's registering me in the system. And we have now successfully added a project. We're basically done. I can suspend, I can check out notices, I can go to the web pages, I can go check out project commands. There is one other thing in here. Oh, options. Oh, we got to hit the finish button on here. All right, now we're finished. So this is the BOINC manager. No work available to process. He automatically takes you to the website and you can log in. All right, so the rest is pretty straightforward. He assumes I want to use Pi, identifies you on a web server. So this is another local name. Where are you at? I don't want to be named Pi. There's probably 1,000 people on here, 10,000 people named Pi. But this is all really simple. You can look at your jobs. You can participate in communities, look at what's happening. You can track what's going on. Use your real name or a nickname. I'm going to guess I'm the only drushtx here. Identifies you on our website. Okay, so we'll do that. You can team up with other people or you can participate individually here. If you participate individually, then you don't have to put anything in any of these boxes. Is this updated of late? You can team up with other people with similar interests, same countries, search criteria. Nah, I'm not going to search anything. No keywords. Any team types? So sometimes schools work together to do this. You can team up with other people from just your particular country. So we didn't specify anything here. It's going to do a search. We can pick from that list. I should have done something very limiting, huh? But I just get down to the bottom.
Hi.
Hey, I'm in the middle of the show.
Oh, you are?
I am.
I thought you only went for an hour.
I do a 2-hour show. Mike does 2 or 1.
Oh, no. All right.
So I've spilled the beans. Everybody can probably hear you right now, so be aware you. So I spilled the beans that there will be upcoming retake vouchers. Do you have any info?
We weren't ready to make an announcement about
I know.
it.
I'm sorry. I spilled the beans. So okay, it's going to be a little while. Then is the bottom line.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, that's not long.
It might be sooner, but it probably will be sooner. But
up to 2 weeks.
I don't want to.
Okay, well that works really well because the new 11OX courses are due out in 3 to 4 weeks, so things work out lovely.
Yeah, sometime in the next. Sometime in the next few weeks.
Okay. All right, I'm going back to the show. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
That's it. Sorry about that, but we got live what we wanted there. right, there was one other thing that I wanted to show you on here, where we don't pick a team, where we can become individual. Next page shows projects successfully added and specify joining a team, but there should be no boxes on find a team page will have to be filled out. There's supposed to be a link on this page to select individual. And it has been updated, so I'll let you figure it out. But you could join a team, or somewhere on here is an individual entry. Join this team. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Sorry about that. But that was the risk. I knew going cold that something like that was potentially going to happen. We wouldn't find everything that we're looking for, but it's just a website. Do a little hunting around on it and you shall find. What happens if we go back to this page and not do a search? Oh, here it is. I'm not interested in joining a team right now. There we go. I saw that earlier and I saw the I, and the tutorial talked about individual, excuse me. And so I put those two together. There we go. So now you set up account information here. Set up your community preferences. I'll just leave all these at their defaults. It's already done. Defaults are good. Okay, so all he's doing is showing me my defaults. I don't have to save this stuff anywhere. And so you've got two different worlds to play with now. One is the LHC at home, the words at, website. And then back on your own machine, you've got the BOINC manager, and here's where we can set up criteria for how busy your CPU has to be or doesn't have to be. It's going to look at our jobs here. I don't understand all that stuff yet. We got message boards. What's going on with computing? How about my computing preferences? This will tell my system my computing preferences. So use at most 100% of the CPU. So I can change that limit. I can tell it to suspend if I'm running, this is on a laptop and on battery. Suspend the GPU if we're doing GPU processing. If you detect mouse input in the last 3 minutes, then the computer is considered in use and it won't work on your project. Suspend when non-BOINC. CPU is, here's our value of 25%. And all of this stuff is configurable in here and in here. And that's what I wanted you to see. So there's more. I'm happy with that. I'm going to log out of here. I'll go play with it later. So that was just a Chrome page. And that is BOINC in a nutshell. Very easy to install, very easy to configure. Let's undo this. I'll come play with that a little later. I'm going to unregister when I'm done because I don't want them to have my account sucking up resources for them when I'm not going to do anything for them. Though it looks like they weren't going to let me do anything anyways with my tiny little Pi. When you shut down a machine that's running BOINC, don't crash it down, right? Don't unless it's unavoidable. Do a neat shutdown, run the shutdown command or use the graphical shutdown so that it doesn't crash whatever BOINC processing you're doing. Also, let's say that you've got a BOINC project that's living in your computer and it's not complete and you shut off your computer. Maybe you're not comfortable leaving it on and running while you're on the road for a week or on vacation or something like that. It's okay. Shut down your computer. And what happens is your BOINC project will wait for a while, for days or weeks or whatever their time limit is, before it says, nope, it looks like you've abandoned me. And it tracks what resources it gave to you and what code it gave to you. And so it says, okay, well, fine, we're going to consider him a goner, and I'll reassign that data, which I still have in my database, to an active participant. When you come back and you wake up your computer and it says, okay, I got stuff that I'm supposed to be working on here, and he does work. First of all, he's going to check in and says, hey, should I still be working on this? I've been down for more than 24 hours or however long it is. And BOINC headquarters will say, no, don't bother. We'll give you a new piece since you're back up. or it could just time out using the same thing. Your system might come up, and it doesn't have to be in contact with headquarters to process. We can disconnect. He'll crank away locally, but at some point when he's done processing, he says, I got to call home. So at that time, you've got to be connected. So that's the project. Summary: BOINC has replaced the old code that used to run the SETI project and generally replaced the folding at home code. BOINC currently operates about 32 projects. You could add your own, but you've got a lot of coding to do. It runs on tons of platforms. When you're installing it on a Linux system, the first half of the installation is done on command line, basically 3 commands, or the absolute minimum 5 or 6 with tests and with updates and upgrades and things like that. And then after that, everything is done with the graphical BOINC manager and with the website of the project that you're working on. In theory, you can do everything from the command line. But, so check out the catalog of projects. If you find one or more that appeals to you and you're willing to volunteer some of the processing power of your computer whenever you're not doing anything else, consider setting up BOINC and helping out a worthy cause. And with that, here endeth the lesson. And cool, finished up early for a change. I've cut things pretty tight in the last couple of days or last couple shows. Let me set up my notes here to where they need to go next. And then let's check and see who yammered. So this one, I got 20 minutes of showtime left. That's basically free forum. We're taking questions. We're taking answers. I'll take answers. And we'll pick it up at that point in my notes. Once we get all that done. Nobody posted anything, huh? 313. Oh, so there's some stuff going on. That was my post. Dollars at 317. Hey, Dave, I want to purchase the ebook Total Tester bundle. Applies to A+. Will it be updated after purchase of today when the new version comes out? I have been told that the answer to that is yes. Hey, good news, huh? Oh, thank you, Andre, for the Tullowit pun. Sometimes you should be ashamed of yourself, my friend. All right. Well, no questions there. Let me talk a little bit about what's up and coming here. Posted and deleted faster than I could read it. Nice. Upcoming episodes. We got a lot of stuff on tap. I'm very excited from my list. I was kind of going through my list of possibilities, and some things have come up, and some of them I've talked about in the past, some of them. So here's what's coming up. No particular order, and I may add things into these between now and then. There is a new objective in the new 1100 series A+. It's called Infrastructure as Code, IAC. It's categorized with the cloud services. Doesn't really fit there, but that's where CompTIA put it in their objectives list. So there was software as a service, SaaS, and platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. And then they said infrastructure as code. Now, what infrastructure as code means is we're going to use a program to automate installing and updating configurations, programs, and things like that in our computer. And it's not installing a container or anything like that, though you could use infrastructure as code to provision the contents of a container. But the whole point here is there is this program that's a provisioner, has a thing called a playbook. And the playbook says, here's what you're going to do to whatever computer you're pointed at. You're going to install this application. You're going to configure this config file with the following information and so forth. That's infrastructure as code. And the big player in that world is called Ansible. There are other major names in there, but by far and away, head and shoulders above everybody else is Ansible. And I always had this picture in my mind of what Ansible does. We've used Ansible in-house to do things, and that meshed with my picture. And that is as I described. Here is some host, excuse me, good batch of hiccups there. And it needs the same application that we have installed on all these other hosts. I could go in and sit down and start installing it. Or if I got an Ansible system and a playbook, I can just say, hey, go do it on that machine, and he does that. So that's the code, right? Ansible and the playbook that builds my infrastructure, adds programs and software. The other way that Ansible gets used is to update existing infrastructure. Hey, change a run app, update and upgrade. Just update this configuration file for this, add this, replace this file with that. So it's very powerful, very flexible. And I'm envisioning when we start that series that it's going to be a 3-part series. Part 1, install Ansible on a Raspberry Pi and talk about playbooks. Step 2, we'll do one to install infrastructure, new infrastructure on some host. And the cool thing about that is the host doesn't have to be Raspberry Pi. It can be anything that you specify. This is, just like you don't have to be Dutch to sit in front of a keyboard and work on this computer. You could be, what's Mike? Think you're a Belgian. You could be a Belgian and work on this. So part 2, we'll do a traditional install and upgrade infrastructure. And then step 3, update existing infrastructure. So that's a 3-part that we've got coming up in the future. Ooh, typo there. I was supposed to say Boink, not Boyin. Other projects. I found and ordered my 64 megapixel ArduCam. So when it comes in, I got a little bit of development time to work on, and then we got to wait for the perfect night for me to go out and do some astrophotography, and then we'll come in and do the project. It won't be night. We won't be watching it live. But these 64 megapixel ArduCams are very, very light sensitive, so they can pick up stars. They pick up the motion of stars. Awesome for astrophotography. And they are sharp. They're 64 megapixels, for goodness sake. Because I had a really good experience 2 weeks ago installing a certificate onto the PyR² server, I think I'm gonna do an episode on that. It's quick, it's painless, it's fun, it's easy, it's free. So if you're running your own web server in a cloud instance, perhaps, or sitting at your desk like mine does, let's get it secured with a certificate. Then you can set up a lab and do Ssl scripting. Mike's show on Monday, as a reminder, special guest, Richard Chapman, the campus manager for CyberNow Labs. Mike does a regular show with him called Two Bald Guys Talking. Mike's going to bring him on to talk about why we should consider a career and the education necessary for a career in security. And I remind you that Steve Nicholson will be back, not this coming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, September 28th. He's going to continue his presentation on, objectives for the 220-1100 series. In November, sometime around Thanksgiving, I'll have I don't know who's going to have the guest. It's probably going to be Mike. That makes more sense for his show. We have a gent that he and I know and are longtime friends with, named Doug Jones. He's one of the engineers who works on the networking setup in the International Space Station. And so when I contacted him a few weeks ago and said, hey, would you do a show? Yeah, I would. Okay, when are you available? He said around Thanksgiving. And I said, great, let me pencil you in for second week of November. He says, I can't schedule that closely detailed this far out. So yeah, we'll keep that as a pencil, but we'll work it out. So it's going to be sometime late November, early December is what I anticipate. All right, anybody else got anything to say here? Andre is not ashamed of anything. Develop that shame muscle sometimes, just a little bit or something. Anytime you do something, you type something, I want you to look at it and say, is this something that Tullowit would have typed? And consider carefully. All right, I'm not ashamed of anything. You've seen my Halloween costume last year. I love your Halloween costume. So we're going to do a Halloween costume. I intend to do a Halloween costume party on Discord again this year after the Halloween show. No prizes, no nothing. We're just going to get on in costume and have some fun. I'm working on a fun costume. Let me see what the date is closest to Halloween. Halloween is on a Monday, October 31st. So the Halloween show, we're going to do Friday, October 28th. And then right after drama, I'll head over to Discord, and I hope you will too. Have a costume, have a camera, and just come on. We'll have a nice camera free for all with everybody in costume. So I'm going to start hyping that now, and I'll put a little effort into that every show until that show. So be thinking about it. Work on a costume. Patricia Gray, she put a tremendous amount of effort into her costume last year. She blew up a picture of me from a screen cap on the show, pasted it on a paper plate, put a stick on the paper plate, and held it in front of her face. She won. Somebody did that costume like that. It might not have been Patricia Grace. Andre's costume was very elaborate. Mine was moderate. I didn't get to wear a costume last year around here because of pandemic conditions. Everything got shut down. And I sold a lot of our yard decor. We did the same decor 2 years in a row. It's not something that we like to do. So this year we've accumulated a new theme. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I will set it up starting the first week of October. It takes us about 2 or 3 weeks to get it set up, and then we light it up at night. And I'll tell you that I'll be using glow in the dark lights and glow in the dark materials here, and I'll take pictures and share it with you sometime around the Halloween show. The missus and I love to decorate the set here. Some of the stuff we picked up will be thematic and included on the set. Man, it's going to be a fun Halloween. I love Christmas. I love Easter. And after that, I really love Halloween too. So we're going to wind up early today. It ain't Dutch. It ain't much. I like that. All right. Well, it looks like we're wound up. I don't mind closing off a few minutes early. I got 8 minutes of show left. Last second for questions. I don't see anything there. Let's get this thing going. So about 2 weeks, I spilled the beans. Hey, don't spread that around. If you see this, you're on the archive, keep it to yourself. But you heard it from Kathy herself. Excuse me. What do I want? Oh, good. That page did all kinds of things that it was supposed to do. I love that stuff. Here, one more time, since I got time to fill this, let me put the Discord and discount links up one final time. Okay, that was the specials for this week. The Total Tester and ebook bundle. And there's the Discord invitation link. And here is my web server. I keep that web server up and running from now through late Sunday night, and then on request. If you need it sometime and it's not Friday morning through Sunday night, just send me an email or ping me over on Discord. If I'm online, I will respond and I will fire it up when you need it. Catherine Legrand. Very nice. Good weekend all. All right, well, let's wind this thing up. Hey, heads up. I have 2 trips that I have to make, long trips to the other end of Texas. One at the end of this month, right after the Halloween show. Oh, wow. I might not be able to participate in the Halloween show, or we'll have to push it back because I got a 10-hour drive right after the show, last day of the month. If things happen the way they're supposed to, I may even cut the show short as a result of that. I don't know the answer to that, Andre. I've started the research on it, and I've been overwhelmed by it. I'm looking for somebody who says, here is everything that you need to do, to harden your server and make it safe inside. Now, the easiest thing to do would be to create a 2-router DMZ and put it in the DMZ. Maybe that's the way to do it, because I've already got 2 routers going with my ESSID, my EBS, one more time, EBSSID system, adding another router and making it as DMZ. That's not a bad idea. Before the end of the year, probably much sooner, I will have Pi R square hardened and in a DMZ so that it'll be totally accessible all the time, 24 hours. How very cool. Thanks, Andre. Thanks for the reminder. I was going down the road. Oh yeah. So last day of the month, last show of this October, it's going to be of October. No, it's going to be a September. So Halloween show is intact. The last show of September, I'm going to make it a short show, and we're going to do the long, lonely drive up to the other end of the state for the weekend. And then again, after October, the weekend of the 12th. So Friday, November 11th, give or take, whatever that Friday is. Short show, 1-hour show, probably no project. We'll probably just do open Q&A. And I got to go up there again. All right, that killed time. I'm all caught up on the other stuff. So let's wind things up, shall we? I am going to head over to Discord about 5 minutes after this show, after I answer some of the forum questions. So join us over there. Come on over and join the server if you haven't already. And if you want to have some real fun, fire up a camera and a microphone, and we'll do some face-to-face chatting. I can do that since I'm finishing up early. All right, well, let's wind this thing up then. Thanks, everybody, as ever and always. My thanks as ever and always to Mike Myers and everybody at Total Seminars and National Cyber Group, who so generously provide us with resources and time for us to get together here every week. My most heartfelt thanks go to you and to everyone who comes here to participate. This has been Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars and resident Pi specialist, wishing you a great weekend. Take care of each other, take serious steps to stay healthy, and if at all possible, call or visit your parents. And most importantly, never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. And with that, I'll bid you good night. I'll see you on Discord in a few minutes and at the AMAs next week. Until then, I am out of here.